the week.
Oh, okay.
Did you have something important to say?
I was going to say, I didn't get what I was expecting, but I guess that's to be expected.
This is we've been waiting, and then we did a little more waiting. We waited some more, and we're finally able to talk about Gladiator 2. So I'm so excited. I just can't believe that's
exactly.
That's finally
that's
here.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
Yes, the B team.
That's Carl, and
this over here in a different place and plane of existence is Brady
in the blue corner. Yeah. So hey, it's the news. It's another news episode. A little bit different this week. I mean, last week was a little different as well, but we are kind of gonna go a little loosey-goosey, a little skimpy on some of the regular news because we do have the DC slate announcement from James Gunn. And there's it's one piece of news that's got 12 little pieces of news in it. So we want to give a little bit of time to sort of properly unpack that. But so without further ado, let's just hop right in. As I mentioned, Gladiator 2. That was sort of a joke, but it was also not a joke. It was a joke in the sense that that's not what we've been waiting for. But really, it's not what I've been waiting for. So we talked a little bit ago that Gladiator 2 was a thing, that it was happening. We talked about the fact that there is a lead person cast, I guess. But we now have a release date, which is November of 2024. I asked you before, but I'll ask you again. Why? I mean, I just don't get... There's a lot of old properties that we're returning to years later, and a lot of them make total sense to me. Sure. Give us, revitalize Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is a valuable IP if you do it properly. There's lots of money in merchandising and whatever to be made doing that. There's an expansive universe. You've created a universe essentially with rules and canon and lore and stuff like that. Obviously Star Wars is forever going to be in that category. Star Trek, when they did the Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films, I know we have got new Star Trek shows coming out all the time. That all makes sense to me. Gladiator, the first one, although, certainly considered by many to be in the Hall of Fame of films, it's like an iconic piece of film. It's an iconic addition to the film library of our world. That was a weird way to say that, but it seemed like a very self-contained, standalone, cut and dry. There was no world building. There was a lot of character building, but it wasn't a specific world that they set up. It was the Roman Empire, and it was, they talk about the Field of Reeds or whatever, you see them wandering in the Field of Reeds, but that's not like them setting up a world. That's just Roman mythology. That's.
Well, and when we talked about this last time, it wasn't even setting up mythology necessarily. There was some talk. I mean, it's been so long since I watched it, but I assume there was some talk of the Greek or the Roman pantheon a bit, but we never seen divine intervention from Zeus or Ares or what, these flash. These images he gets of his wife walking through the field and his son, I mean, that just kind of alludes to an afterlife, not necessarily a higher, and in this universe. So it's Roman afterlife. It's weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. To do another one, to do it without Russell Crowe, to do I've never agreed more. There's a lot of times where you say, just do a different ghost hunting movie and don't call it Ghostbusters. Like, just, do the same idea, but just make it its own thing. And I don't always agree with you on that. Sometimes I'm like, no, to me, it makes sense. To me, you've got that IP and you got to, it's good business. Gladiator is the closest I've come to being right in that camp with you, where I'm like, I just don't get it. Do another gladiatorial film and call it something different. The only real tie is that it's Ridley Scott. It's the guy that did the first one. So maybe that's the connection. The connection is that it's the same guy who's returning to, and maybe there'll be some carryover cast. I don't know. Maybe there'll be references and callbacks to the first one, but are references and callbacks enough to justify calling it a gladiator film?
I feel like that's as close as you're going to get to, like, is a callback. Like, the most you're going to get is callbacks.
Yeah. Oh, that time when, what was it, Maximus or whatever? The time when that happened. Oh, yes.
Like,
very good.
The events of this one will be because somebody else was inspired by what happened at this point in time.
A kid that was in the audience in the first one.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. Anyways, so November 2024, about a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half out. It's not really a film that's on my radar. It's something that we have to talk about because it's Gladiator and it's Ridley Scott and it's they're making a sequel to one of the most iconic films in the last 25 years. So it's something worth talking about, I guess. But it's not, of all the films that are in my calendar that I'm Xing off the days towards, this is not one of them. Yeah.
So like, and like, this is just another opportunity for me to hit home on my opinion on, using a title franchise to make a new movie, even if it doesn't fit, like The Gladiator, right? Like, have you watched The Gray Man on Netflix?
No.
Okay. So The Gray Man is like a spy-ish flick. It's got Captain America, Chris Evans, Ryan Gosling. And it is like, it's an awesome action kind of spy flick.
Right.
And as I'm watching it, I'm getting all these vibes of, oh man, this feels like a Bourne movie.
Right.
Like, this feels like Ryan Gosling feels like Jason Bourne here. Right. And, or some other spy flick. Like, so it's got a lot of those, stereotypes that a spy flick or a action flick would have. But for me, because they didn't say this is Bourne remake 2, right? Like,
right.
It's its own franchise. It's its own world. And they did a great job of building it and creating this awesome thing. And because it's not like, I really love the Bourne movies. Mm-hmm. So I do compare it a little bit, but because they're not using the Bourne name, I don't compare it as much. It's its own thing now. It's not Bourne. So there's not as much comparison to that world. It's more just I'm comparing it to all action and spy flicks. How does this make me feel when compared to other action spy flicks? Not specifically these great Bourne movies that I really love and appreciate. Right. So yeah, it's awesome.
Anyways,
and I think that's just me going on a tangent about
it's I think it's completely applicable and completely relevant because I don't
so why not
get this one?
And so in this sense, like, why call it Gladiator 2? Why not call it Roman War or the Roman Fighter or yeah.
Anyways, talking about returning to old franchises, have you seen all of the Shrek films?
For the most part, I did recently go see Puss in Boots. I think I mentioned that.
Right. Yeah. You and the little one went to go see it. Yeah.
And it was really fun.
I've seen the first one a handful of times. I've seen the second one a handful of times. I've never been able to make it through the third one. Like, I think I've made a couple of attempts and I get about half an hour in and I'm just like, this is not, like, I got other stuff to do. I just, like, I don't care. And then I did see the fourth one once. Went to go see it in the theater, actually, I think. I haven't seen the first Puss in Boots. I have not watched any of the, there's been a dozen, like, little Shrek Halloween specials and whatever, right? Like, Shrek was one of those franchises that just kind of, like, spawned all of the merchandise and all of the video games and all of the just everything.
Yeah, it took off.
Spin-offs. Yeah.
It was like one of Mike Myers' last great
which is funny because it wasn't even supposed to be him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
supposed to be Chris Farley.
Farley, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, it's been aside from Puss in Boots, so like we've gotten these two Puss in Boots films, it has been a hot minute since we've gotten an actual Shrek proper film, a Shrek installment. I'm actually just going to look up Shrek 4, 2010, so it's been 13 years. 13 years, which is, that's a hefty chunk considering the first one came out in 2001. So in the course of 9 years, they released 4 films. In the last 13 years, we haven't gotten any. So someone in an interview the other day said they would like more. And this is someone who's not just anybody. It's not Mike Myers, but someone who's been seeing a big sort of renaissance, a Hollywood renaissance, in Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was kind of out of the spotlight for a good long while.
Yeah,
hot minute. And then, he did like weird little odd, he was in like he had like a music career, didn't he? He like made some music and stuff.
I don't know.
But yeah, it wasn't in really anything for a very long time. Kind of made his big sort of return to the big screen with Coming to America 2, which was not super well received by critics and stuff.
Got a Netflix special,
at least compared to the first one. Yeah, he did the Netflix special. But now he is saying that he would like to be a part of more Shrek universe projects. Not only I think is he asking for a Shrek 5, but he was saying, Donkey deserves his own standalone film. Like Donkey, he goes on to say that Donkey's a funnier character than Puss in Boots.
For sure. I would say so.
It's true, but it's also like a little, I don't know. It feels like a weird thing to say about like your co-star's character. They'd be like, why are you giving Antonio Banderas movies? Give me a movie. But
actor wants work.
Here are the things. Yeah. So exactly. So here are the thoughts. Shrek 5. Yeah. You know what? I think Mike Myers deserves it. Cameron Diaz is back acting again. She kind of retired for a number of years there, but then, I think just kind of got bored and decided I kind of want to act again. And so she's back acting again. You could totally pull it off a Shrek 5 if it's done well, if you do it properly. So I'm all for that. As far as a Donkey standalone film, Puss in Boots as a standalone film character works really well. Because, there's sort of that, like, Puss in Boots is his own character from from fairy tales, right? Like
Yeah.
he's a character. There's a world there that you can kind of, and a lore to him that you can kind of build off of. Donkey's an excellent character, but Donkey has always been a really great supplementary character.
Supporting character.
He's a supporting character.
Right.
He is a character that works so well because you're playing him off of Mike Myers as Shrek.
Yeah, you got these two witty comedians bouncing back off each other.
Exactly. So I don't think a standalone Donkey film makes sense to me. I think that it would just I think it'd be kind of like the Minions movie, right? Where you're like, oh, everybody loves Minions. Everyone loves Minions until you get an hour and a half of just Minions. And you're like, oh, this is kind of a one note thing.
So you didn't like the Minions movie then?
I didn't watch them, but I heard that was a common complaint that I had heard, that it was just like, these are
it's really goofy
characters.
fun.
Is it?
Yeah. Like oh shoot, what is the original movie called now?
Despicable Me.
Despicable Me, right. Yeah. So like Gru as a character and his story in the first one and even the second and third, like, is pretty good. Like they're fun movies.
Yeah.
And all like, and there's a lot of depth that he can go through as a character. And yeah, the Minions play a really big, funny supporting role.
Mm-hmm.
And in a standalone, the Minions, it's a lot of the same thing for like an hour. So it's really goofy fun. There's not a lot of character development or growth. Well, but if you go into it expecting just a goofball fun, or you're under the age of 15 or 13, you're gonna love the movie. It's great,
sure.
In my opinion. I thought it was fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So but on topic of the Shrek thing, like, I hear you. Like, does he need a standalone? Does the Shrek franchise need more? Right? Like, is this a Gladiator scenario? Right? That what we were just talking about. Does it need more movies? To answer the last question, does it need more? I think this is a world that is rife with opportunities for stories. Especially, and I don't know if I would have said that before watching this most recent Puss in Boots film. Because in the most recent Puss in Boots film, they draw in a whole bunch of brand new characters that are fairy tale or from poems or rhymes or nursery rhymes, and create these interesting 3-dimensional characters from this very 2-dimensional story or kid's story or poem or book, right? Like the main villain from the Puss in Boots is Tom Thumb. Tom sticks his thumb in the pie and it's purple, and like they created this really interesting villain out of this two-dimensional story, this very simple nursery rhyme. So
right.
Like, there are so many nursery rhymes, Grimm's fairy tales, all that stuff that Shrek could draw from for story material and character material, and put these really cool, fun spins on them to make really interesting stories. Now, does Shrek need his own film, or does Eddie Murphy and Donkey need their own film? I think on one hand you could go, no, he is just a good supporting character. But have you, like, the fan theory out there on Donkey that I love is Donkey is one of the donkeys from Pinocchio.
Yeah.
He hasn't had the full transformation. He can still talk, but he is a donkey. He was once a real boy. So I think there's a potential there that you could have a really interesting story where he's kind of like either a prequel story where he's coming to terms with being a donkey,
right,
or a sequel story where he's like he's sick of being a donkey and he's remembering what it was like to be a boy, and somehow he comes he has to come to accept being a donkey again, or you know what I mean, like, or he tries to become a real person again. So I think there's opportunities there galore in this Shrek world for stories, including for Donkey. Mm-hmm. I think Shrek has had his time in the sun after 5 or 6 films.
4.
Shrek and Fiona. I don't need to see more of Shrek and Fiona or their kids, or you know, like. I think that's been enough from them. Let's explore the rest of this world. Let's, you know, what happens with the gingerbread man? Maybe, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah. I think there's lots of opportunity for stories in the world that don't have to do with Shrek.
Right. Well, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Either way, I think, you know, it's an exciting opportunity for Eddie Murphy. He's seeing a resurgence, and he's back on the scene, and I think that's a great thing.
He's a funny actor. He's a funny comedian. He's great. Yeah. I love to see more of him.
All right, moving on to our third and final topic.
This one will take up the biggest chunk of time.
Yeah, the DCU announcement from James Gunn.
What was it? 5.5 minute video.
It was about 5.5 minutes, I think. And he sort of detailed the first half or part of
his first phase.
Well, no, it was part of his first phase. So he was saying, so chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters, chapter 1 of the DCU. And he goes on to say that this is not all of chapter 1, but this is the part of chapter 1 that they can unveil to us now.
Right.
So listen,
which was quite a bit.
It was quite a bit.
It's supposed to take the next 10 years.
Not this. They're saying the part that they announced right now will probably take about 4 or 5 years.
That's a lot in 4 years.
It is a lot.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely no. I'm looking at the interview from an interview that James Gunn did right now. Yep. So here's the thing. We're gonna go through it. We'll go through it sort of property by property here, and I'll read a little bit about each one. But the biggest thing I want to say is, like, I had so many questions.
And now you have more.
Before going into watching this video, and I feel like maybe almost hardly none of them were answered.
Yeah, like I think we definitely went into this thinking, oh, we're going to get a casting for all these characters.
Yeah, they're going to tell us, or at least Superman.
We didn't get a single casting.
No. And
which is very kind of disappointing. Like, that's what we were expecting. We did not get that at all.
We didn't get a single casting, but then we also got some weird casting.
It's a weird roadmap. Like, there's some titles in here that are like, wow, Gunn is really like scraping the bottom of the DC universe.
Yeah. Well,
for
it's James Gunn.
Creature Commandos? I've never heard of the Creature. I'm not a DC guy, but who are the Creature Commandos?
Don't get ahead of us here. So he starts by talking about the already existing slate. He says
Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle.
Yeah, we have Shazam, Fury of the Gods. He says, which, you know, they're super excited for, and it still kind of fits in with what they're wanting to do, because Shazam has always been kind of in his own little corner of the DCU. So they can do that film, and it's not, you know, it doesn't screw anything up.
Right.
Then they say that leads nicely into The Flash, which has now been confirmed to us as a Flash, but officially confirmed to be a Flashpoint story, because he says the Flash resets the DC universe.
Right.
So obviously there's some sort of timeline shenanigans that are going to go on. Then this is where things get a little weird, because so next we have Blue Beetle. Which again is fine as a character that has not been introduced to us yet. So it completely works for that to exist in the reset DCU.
Right.
It potentially ties in really nicely with one of the titles that they did announce. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of crossover there.
Right. So pausing here real quick. It sounds like when I listened to the James Gunn outline his plan, this does not sound like the throw everything in the dumpster, burn it all, start from the ground up.
No, well, that's what we're about to get to with the next title.
Oh, so also assumed it was. Because, yeah, like moving forward from this point on, what you're about to talk about, there's a lot of like copy over, it almost sounds like, from the existing DCU.
Yeah. So, I mean, none of us ever had, like, I don't think there was ever any doubt that they weren't going to still release Blue Beetle. Because, I mean, they'd made the movie. And so it makes sense that, you know, that they would see if they could find a way to either release it,
recoup some finance on it.
Yeah, either release it and say this is a part of the old thing, or release it and find a way to tie it in and make it a part of the new thing. You know, they sort of had that flexibility with it not being a pre-existing franchise. Then we go into Aquaman 2. Aquaman 2 with Jason Momoa, which was a film that, again, none of us had any doubt that they were... Well, I mean, there was some doubt when the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard stuff was going on, but it is definitely still coming out. And my assumption, and I think most people's assumption, had been that this would be considered part of the old regimen, and we're just kind of cleaning up. We're sweeping out what there was, and then, you know, here comes the fresh start. They do a little bit of weird timeline shenanigans where maybe Flash resets the universe, but maybe Aquaman happens, kind of like the MCU's done a few times. Maybe Aquaman happens before the Flash, even though it's being released. The only time
DCU's done it is with Black Widow,
right? MCU.
MCU, yeah. Which, to me, I don't know. Why don't you just switch the release dates of Flash and Aquaman?
They did also do it with Infinity War and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Right? Because Ant-Man and the Wasp came out after Infinity War, but technically takes place congruently.
The same time.
Yeah. And then the next film was Captain Marvel, which takes place back in the 80s. So, you know, it's sometimes you have to jump back to, you know, even Eternals. Much of Eternals takes place in the past. But so anyways, doesn't matter. And so, I mean, maybe there's still room for that. Maybe the Flash is going to come out and Aquaman is going to take place before the Flash, but it definitely didn't seem like that from this announcement. It kind of seemed like
somehow it ties into this new universe. A
soft reboot, and that this is that our Aquaman is still going to be our Aquaman. There was also a discussion in an interview where whether this is true or not, whether they're not showing their whole hand, but James Gunn and Peter Safran said, we're still talking with Gal Gadot. We don't know what the plan is there yet, and whether or not we're gonna, you know, we're figuring out where we want to go with that. Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, so hang on, like our Wonder
it's
Woman
definitely a lot softer than we thought.
Yeah, our Wonder Woman might stay the same. Our Aquaman might stay the same, but definitely
after
our
Aquaman
Superman
2
is different. But definitely our Superman is different, and that's the interesting part. Is that for sure you're getting a new Batman? For sure you're getting a new Superman. We might keep some of these other characters. So interesting.
Yeah, even the Superman thing, like when we get there later, it's a weird comic book story they're pitching from.
Yeah.
They're starting
for sure.
But after Aquaman 2, it jumps into the central Gunn universe, which is the Gods and Monsters, he's titled it.
Said about Creatures and Commandos, it is a 7-episode animated series written by Gunn, that is already in production. Originally a team of classic monsters assembled to fight Nazis, this is a modern take on the concept. The voice actors have yet to be cast, but the executives are looking to find people who can voice the animated characters and also portray live-action versions of them when the anti-heroes show up in movies in the series. So yeah, that's something else he said, is that for the most part, they are going to try whenever possible to have the same cast playing the animated versions. That the DCU is going to be unique in the sense that it is going to go in and out of animation, and that the talent playing those characters will be consistent in both iterations.
Yeah. And that's cool.
Yeah.
And the MCU did that with the What If series, and probably will moving forward, hopefully.
Yep.
But yeah, it's for them to do that right out the gate. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So looking at this image that was provided of the Creature Commandos, that's also a property that I was not familiar with and was really surprised. Like, I think going into it naively, I was like, well, you're going to kick this thing off with Superman. That's what you're going to do. And
or Batman, or
Batman, or whatever.
Wonder Woman, or all three.
And so when he was like, first up, we're excited to announce Creature Commandos, I was like,
who?
Huh? What?
The what?
It kind of makes, this kind of makes sense to me because it's an animated thing. It's going to be easier to get it out quicker. And you kind of want to hit the ball. You want to hit the ground running, right? And so you don't want to say, hey, it's going to take us 2 years to get a Superman movie out. So sit tight, twiddle your thumbs, and go watch some Marvel properties while you wait, right?
It's an interesting looking cast from the picture that they used too. Like you've got like a Frankenstein and like a Mrs. Frankenstein.
Yeah, so the only carryover that we've seen before in the DC, there is a familiar character from the DCU, specifically from a James Gunn property, which is Weasel. Weasel was in the most recent Suicide Squad movie.
Okay, I hadn't seen that yet.
Oh my gosh, that's the next. Okay, the next time I'm in town, I'm bringing it over.
Squad. Got it.
We'll drink whiskey and watch Suicide Squad. Yeah, so it's hard to say. It seems like, so one of the other things that James Gunn has said since this announcement that is worth keeping in mind as we go through these is that unlike the MCU, depending on the story, some of the properties in the MCU are going to be PG-13, or in the DCU are going to be PG-13, and some of them are going to be R. It's going to be a darker universe. And so you would look at something like this and go, well, it's cartoon, so, I'm assuming they're going to go PG-13 with it. They're going to keep it, blah, blah, blah. Adult animation is becoming like it's more and more a thing. It's totally possible that this could be an R property.
It's its own section on Disney now.
Yeah. Yes. Especially considering James Gunn is writing it, right? If you look at the type of stuff now, obviously Guardians of the Galaxy was PG-13. But as far as DC goes, James Gunn is responsible for both Suicide Squad and the Peacemaker series, both of which are very, very R-rated. So I don't know. It's an interesting first kind of thing, and we'll just kind of have to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think the next thing that he mentions is way more interesting.
Oh, really? I feel the total opposite. So
before you jump into it, I think it's more interesting because this is the moment I was like, oh, he's not burning everything.
Yes. Well, yeah, absolutely. So this is our next
the light bulb moment.
This is our next tie-in to what came before, which is a live-action Waller series. In a spin-off of Gunn's own HBO Max hit series Peacemaker, Viola Davis, which has played Amanda Waller in, regardless of how weird the continuity has gotten, she has continued to play. She's continued to play Amanda Waller. Viola Davis will return as the ruthless and morally ambiguous head of a government task force. It is being written by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen. and Henry Carver, the creator of Doom Patrol.
So we get a carryover in Viola Davis, and we get a carryover from the Peacemaker series as well.
Yeah, so this one is very much, this is kind of like giving us our next advancement in that corner, like in James Gunn's corner of the DCU, which is his Suicide Squad, Peacemaker universe.
He's burning everything that wasn't his.
It kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Which I mean,
I'm just realizing this now.
Which like, some people would look at and say, "Oh, that's kind of childish," but you know what? It's completely his prerogative. I mean, you know. So this one doesn't interest me as much. I mean, it interests me because this one for sure will be R. I have no doubt this will be HBO Max, Amanda Waller. This is going to be an R-rated property.
Yeah.
But it just, you know, as much as I love the most recent Suicide Squad movie, as amazing as the Peacemaker series was, for some reason, I'm sick of Amanda Waller. She's never been a character.
I think she's a really intriguing character.
She's an intriguing character. It's just never one that I've, you know, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we're doing this again. Like, you know.
I think, it's, like I said, this was kind of the light bulb moment that he's not burning everything to the ground to make a fresh start. But at the same time, for me, it just raises like more questions. It's like, okay, so what are you burning down and starting fresh?
Right.
Like, obviously, Superman's
have to wait
fresh,
and see.
and Batman will probably be fresh. But is Batman fresh? Because like,
oh yeah, no,
Batman shows up in Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
and like,
in the first
are you doing a new Joker and Harley Quinn then?
Listen,
how much of this Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, Waller is new, and how much is carryover from what he's throwing out?
It's a good question because the Joker, I mean, even though first Suicide Squad is David Ayer and not James Gunn, it is, you know, he did the second Suicide Squad, which has Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Same carryover cast.
Hard to say. It's hard to say. I imagine I can't see them doing. We'll talk about Joker when we get to another property, but I think some of that will change, and I think it's possible that some of it will stay the same. So next up, we have our first feature film. Dum dum dum.
Waller's supposed to be a feature film, is it not?
No, it's a HBO TV series.
Oh, the article I'm looking at shows it as a Chapter 1 movie.
Oh, yeah. No, both the video and the Hollywood Reporter review he did are
then Decider has decided wrongly.
So, next up, we do have the first feature-length film that we are going to get is, as I predicted, as I think most of us assumed, Superman Legacy.
Right.
The movie featuring the Man of Steel that Gunn is currently writing and may direct. This is something we've talked about. Lots of people have talked about. Will James Gunn direct the first Superman? I think ultimately it's going to just come down to whether or not he has time.
Yeah, he's writing it.
Yeah,
but whether he directs it or how much of a producer role
takes a lot more time out of his. You know, it's
and he's already got a lot of time wrapped up in. He's writing a lot of stuff for this universe, so he's not going to have a lot of time.
While the two previous titles are meant to be aperitifs, what does that word mean? Hang on, aperitif, meaning an alcohol drink taken before a meal to stimulate the appetite. So it's like while the previous two titles are meant to entice your appetite, in Safran's words, Superman is the true kickoff for the duo's DCU plans. It's not an origin story, Safran said. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is Kindness in a World That Thinks That Kindness is Old-Fashioned. A release date of July 11th, 2025 has been penciled in. Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us wanted another Superman origin story.
No.
Been there, done that. And yeah, we don't really have a lot of other details about this in what's said here, other than he is it sounds like they are really focusing on the not the origins of Superman, but like the original iteration of Superman, the true back to basics Superman, which is he is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way, which is how he was always portrayed initially in the comics. Yeah, there's been stuff throughout the years where, you know, Superman, all characters have evolved and kind of changed and so on and so forth. But they're really looks like they're going for Boy Scout America, you know, kind of just really focusing in on this is the Dudley Do-Right Superman in a world that doesn't believe in that anymore.
Yeah. It's an interesting spot to start. That's all I'll say.
Oh, wow. You have to say more. I think this is the absolute logical
I don't know.
place
I feel like so the oh shoot, what's his name? He became a quadriplegic. He played Superman, became
Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Yeah.
That wasn't an origin story. I don't believe. I wouldn't like they touched on the origin very briefly, but then they just got right into Superman being Superman. I think that's kind of what I was more expecting from this.
They do the Jonathan Kent having his heart attack, collapsing in the field. Like they do the whole. They show him as a kid.
Yeah, but like in terms of the overall runtime of the film.
He discovers the Fortress of Solitude. I would say that was definitely an origin movie.
Maybe I need to go back and
I think you need to go back.
In my mind,
it's
it's a small part in the overall story.
Oh,
maybe I'm confusing it more. Maybe I'm combining the first and second one in my head because it's been a long time since I've seen them.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. It feels like an old man Superman story.
In what sense?
Like so the DC Comics, the article I got here, it's got a DC Comics tweet. Superman Legacy, written by James Gunn. The film will hit theaters and focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing, and then kind of pair that with what you just said about, you know, like struggling with being this moral right in a world that's not morally right. Like it feels like that's something that an older Superman would kind of work through. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it through the wrong lens.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think, you know, it's got the uphill struggle of the fact that people are butthurt about Henry Cavill.
Yeah. Maybe I need more information and I need to know who's playing him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
But it doesn't make me jump out of my seat and go, yes, this is what I was waiting for, right?
Yeah. Next up, we have another TV series called Lanterns. So Greg Berlanti's long in the works Green Lantern TV series has been scrapped, and Gunn and Safran have parted ways with the longtime DC series steward. In its place will be a new take on the space cops with power rings. Our vision for this is very much in the vein of True Detectives, Safran described. It's terrestrial based, so it's going to happen here on Earth. It will feature prominent Lantern heroes Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. So you were smart when you cast both of them.
I'm excited that we get both. That's awesome.
Is one of the most important shows they have in development. This plays a really big role in leading into the main story we are telling across film and TV. So yeah, basically, and I've read other stuff. He talks about, James Gunn talks about, they're kind of overseeing Precinct Earth. And yeah, so it sounds like it could be, I mean, they say it's in the vein of True Detective. So this could be an R-rated thing. It could be dark and gritty. I think it's fascinating that we get both. They said there will be sort of a peppering of other lanterns throughout the series, but obviously it mainly focuses on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart.
I think I think my hope is that we get to see a lot of Green Lanterns, not just like there's a lot of Green Lanterns that hail from Earth, right? So we got confirmed Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, but there's also a Guy Gardner and a Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner's, I think it's Kyle Rayner is the one that's kind of known as being a douche. He's kind of a jerk. But yeah, and there's like, I'm just kind of, I Googled it real quick here. There's a bunch of other ones that must be kind of newer in the last like 20 years or so that I'm more unfamiliar with. A Simon Baz, a Jessica Cruz, a teen lantern called Kelly Quinta, a Sojourner.
Do you think we'll get into seeing red and yellow and white? I don't think we'll get pink.
I hope we get yellow in the first season for sure.
Yeah, because that's kind of like that's your antagonist, right? You're sort of setting up.
Yeah, but
your villain that way.
I think the other ones will come into play later.
Mm. Oh
right?
man,
you got to introduce the whole full color spectrum eventually.
Yeah, for sure. And all sort of the lore that goes along with the rings.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, man. I was actually just thinking, I was watching a Ryan Reynolds movie last night, and I was like, you know what? It's really bad, but I am due for a rewatch of the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. Just because, I don't know, because it takes me back. It's kind of like every so often I get a hankering to go back and watch the Fantastic Four movies from the early 2000s, just because it's like nostalgic. It takes me back to when like they were bad, but we still liked them and watched them because that was all we had for superhero movies. That was they were campy, but that was because it was a genre. It was a niche guilty pleasure genre that wasn't taken super seriously. So, yeah.
Man.
Moving on to
this could be a really cool show.
Oh yeah. Moving on to another movie, we have The Authority. Leave it to James Gunn.
What?
Leave it to James Gunn to just start throwing like crap at the wall that we've never heard of. A movie based on a team of superheroes with rather extreme methods of protecting the planet that first originated in the late 1990s under an influential imprint known as Wildstorm, run by artist and now head of DC Publishing, Jim Lee. One of the things of the DCU that is not just a story of heroes and villains, said Gunn. Not every film and TV show is going to be about good guy versus bad guy. Giant things from the sky come and good guy wins. Excuse me. There are white hats, black hats, and gray hats, added Safran. They are kind of like Jack Nicholson and A Few Good Men. They know that you want them on the wall, or at least they believe that. I think this is going to be R-rated. From what I've been reading on The Authority and who these characters are, and the extreme methods of protecting people. It sounds like these essentially, even though they say it's not about good guys and bad guys, it sounds like they are sort of essentially good guys.
They're anti-heroes.
Yeah, they just don't really have any implemented rules when it comes to their moral compass is not that of a Superman or a Batman.
Yeah,
right.
Like to quote James Gunn in his release here, they think the world's broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. Yeah. I think it's a very different look at a superhero. So
if 300 people die in the course of doing good, then that's an acceptable, then that's just what happens. Yeah. So I think it's definitely going to be R. I think it's interesting to me that this is going to be the second DC film, like following Superman.
Yeah.
The next big film is going to be this thing that we don't know about. Like,
yeah. And I like here while we're talking, I like highlighted Wildstorm and then with the right click and then search Google for Wildstorm and then added DC to the search. And it's like, this is like a really out there superhero group. Like, it's not even from the prime Earth that the DC comics usually follow.
Right.
They're from, I'll just read the first little bit from the DC wiki here. The Wildstorm universe. It's an actual different universe. It's also known of Earth 5-0. It's one of 50 divergent reality. So he's pulling characters from a different universe to bring into his main line universe, which I think, like you're making a cinematic universe. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, and I think a lot of people would look at the fact that this is such a niche property, and that would give them cause for concern. It's James Gunn. I mean, keep in mind, this is the guy that brought us Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, like Guardians. Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Yeah, like this sounds like he's taken something that's a little bit more on the fringes of the DC comics that he really likes or is interested in, because he's called this a passion project. So I can only assume he's really interested in this storyline in the comics. And he's like, I'm going to turn this into a film, and then DC's going to make this like one of their A-list comics in the next 10 years.
Yeah. And again, so as we've just established, you haven't seen it, but you'll know what I mean in a few weeks when you and I watch Suicide Squad. This is a man that made us feel an emotional attachment to Polka Dot Man. Like,
yeah,
he's got a knack for the, he's got a knack for the niche characters.
Oh man. Okay. So you just mentioned Polka Dot Man. Like I know about the movie a little bit and how that Polka Dot Man plays kind of a big role, and he makes Polka Dot Man seem really cool. It'd be cool to see him do something with Kite Man from the DC universe.
Oh yeah.
Because Kite Man is kind of the same thing. He's like this goofy rogues gallery character for I think primarily Batman. And he's just this really, he flies around on a kite and robs people.
I need
like
to
a
see
literal
Condiment
kite.
King done justice.
And he's like this stupid character that easily gets defeated. And the DC Comics recently did a run on him and fleshed out his character and made him a bit more interesting. So it would be cool to see Gunn take more of these characters that are like kind of two-dimensional, easily defeated villains or slacker heroes or whatever, and flesh them out more.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we have another HBO Max series called Paradise Lost. The duo describes this HBO Max series as a Game of Thrones style drama set on the all-female island that is Wonder Woman's birthplace, Themyscira. Mm-hmm. Filled with political intrigue and scheming between power players, it takes place before the events of the Wonder Woman films. So from what I've read about this is like Wonder Woman's doesn't exist yet.
She hasn't been created.
It hasn't been created. I think this is one of the properties, at least from the TV shows, this is one that I am the most interested in. You talk about an HBO Max series, Game of Thrones style. I don't know if that means like in terms of nudity and violence, like if that's declaring that this is going to be an R-rated series, set on an all-female island. It's going to be very interesting. The political intrigue and scheming between power players. I think this is the perfect storm. Like it's just such a good recipe for a potentially really thrilling, really interestingly well done show. And I can't wait. I cannot wait. Do you have any thoughts or?
No, this one, I was just like, oh, okay. So it's either going to be like Wonder Woman origin or I don't know. Like, I don't know. It doesn't.
Interesting.
The announcement of this it kind of went over my head, and I was just like, I'm not jumping up and down at this one.
So it's going to be really interesting when you and I review this show to see like
the most interesting TV show is either going to be Lanterns or the one that we're going to talk about shortly. Yeah. I think.
So next up, we have a big one. It's a film. It's another film. We have The Brave and the Bold. This is the introduction of the DCU Batman, said Gunn, of Bruce Wayne, and also introduces our favorite Robin. He's referring to him and Saffron, not the fans as a collective. Damian Wayne, who is a little son of a bitch. The movie will take inspiration from the now classic Batman run written by Grant Morrison that introduced Batman to a son he never knew existed for the first 8 to 10 years of his life. A
son raised by Ra's al Ghul to be an assassin.
Well, we don't know that for sure yet. We don't know that that's the route that they're going, but
how can they not?
Well, it's, you
gotta.
A murderous tween raised by assassins. It does say assassins, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get Ra's al Ghul. It's a very strange father-son story. So, listen, they also go on to talk. He also says that this will be sort of the introduction of the Bat family.
Right. So there's potentially more Robins will show up, and
there's a lot of things about this
Batman
that I hear and I get really excited about. And there's a couple of things that I go, oh. So Bat Family gets me super excited. Yeah, give me, especially because we've moved on from the Tim Drake years, obviously, which means we assumed because we were getting, or at least I assumed because we knew we were getting a young Superman. I assumed Batman would be a similar age. If we're talking about, we're all the way up to Damian, and so we're 4 Robins in.
Yeah,
and
Batman's been at this for at least 30 years.
He has minimum. A tween son. Yeah, this is an older Batman.
Yeah,
which means my potential dream casting of John Hamm might have not been something that I should have excluded from my list. But so that gets me excited. A potential Nightwing. There's room for a Red Hood storyline.
Yep.
There's potential that we have Red Robin.
Yeah, there could be several Robins. We could have a Batgirl. Batgirl could already be kind of out of the picture, and we have an Oracle instead of a Batgirl.
Batwoman, Batwing. Like there's Huntress. Like there's this whole pantheon that we could potentially tap into.
Yeah, the Bat family is large.
Yeah, the thing that I see and I don't start jumping up and down about is, I gotta tell you, James, Damian's like my second least favorite Robin.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think by the time, that's when he's just the one Robin that I don't buy. Right? Like Tim Drake, you don't really have to buy his story because he was the original Robin, and so you just accept that he's Robin. Jason Todd, you kind of like Robin, he's going to bugger off to Bloodhaven, he doesn't want to be Robin anymore, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got it.
I think you're getting them mixed up. Dick Grayson was the first one.
That's what I said.
Was it? I thought wait, no. You said Jason Todd.
No. Then moving on to Jason Todd. So Jason Todd, okay. we get because Dick Grayson buggers off to Bloodhaven. He doesn't want to be Robin anymore. He's going to be Nightwing. And Batman feels like he needs another sidekick. And so, Jason Todd and his origins, he's kind of a rough around the edges, caught trying to steal the tires off the Batmobile Okay,
super smart.
Yeah. Then he gets killed.
Yeah.
Presumably, he goes missing, and Batman assumes he's dead, killed by the Joker. He goes through all this grief. He's very reluctant to take on another Robin because of the trauma that he's dealing with. But Tim Drake, who was at the circus the night that Dick Grayson's parents died, has deduced Batman's identity, and so Batman kind of brings him into the fold, right? So I'm like, okay, so up until this point, I'm like, I kind of buy it, and then even moving way forward with Carrie Kelly, I'm like, yeah, okay. I also, it's like the other Robins aren't around anymore, so we can't really pull on them. This isn't even really a Robin that Batman's asking for or condoning. She's kind of like, forcing herself into the fold. But the whole Damian Wayne thing, it just kind of felt like, okay, we need to get another Robin. Well, let's say Batman has a son. Like, it just, I don't know. I think it could be interesting. They do touch on it's a very interesting father-son dynamic. It will give us a Batman dynamic that we haven't seen before. It is the return of Robin to the screen for the first time in 24 years, which is crazy. I don't know. I've never bought the Damian story thing. And then it's like, it's interesting. His mother is Talia and all this stuff, but like, it just, I don't know. I think part of it is we don't fully know what tone they're going with. Like, we don't know, we can kind of get a bit of a feel for like the properties that they've announced, but like, how grounded in reality is this DC universe? Or is it not? Like, is it going to feel very much like the Snyderverse in tones of like, okay, we've got like, we know we've got aliens, we know we've got humanoid weasels, we know we've got XYZ. So I guess that kind of answers that question for us. In which case, okay, things like the Lazarus Pit and the League of Assassins and so on and so forth, that's really not that far-fetched. Like, it's kind of all. So I don't know. I'm excited either way because it's Batman. He's my favorite hero of all time. Shut up. Yes, he's a hero. You naysayers can go suck an egg. I don't know. The Damian thing irks me a little bit. Aside from that, I could not be more excited. But what are your thoughts?
I think this is a really fun place to start for Batman. Like I was saying from weeks ago, I don't really want origin stories. Just jump in. This is a really cool spot to jump in because Batman is older. He's obvious, like, if they stick to kind of comic book canon, he's had several other wards and proteges already. And unlike other people on this podcast, I like Damian Wayne. I think he's an interesting character. He's an interesting Robin.
Yeah.
Like
he's unruly.
He's a very young Robin, but being raised from birth to be an assassin,
he's got different
by
ideals.
The best assassins in the world. He's a Robin that Batman doesn't have to train how to fight and be a detective. He's a Robin that Batman actually has to rein in because Damian doesn't think Batman goes far enough. Damian wants to, he shot and killed that girl. Why would we send him to prison? Just cut his head off. Right? So it's a very interesting idea of
justice. Yeah.
I also
honestly, if I could have chose where we jumped in, I would have wanted a Jason Todd story.
That would have been a cool spot to jump in. I was also really excited by this because I thought, ooh, I could get both of my fan castings in one here.
Yes, that's true.
Ian Armitage could be a really cool Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
And then I could get Tanner Buchanan to play Dick Grayson still.
Yeah.
Or one of the other Robins.
Yep, that works.
So that'd be that was like, ooh, I've got like double the odds now.
Yeah, exactly. We also worth mentioning. So yes, this will feature a Batman that is not played by Robert Pattinson. So they do talk about how moving forward, the movies, the TV shows, and the video games are all going to be tied into the same universe. And that anything that does not fit into that will be clearly labeled as Elseworlds.
Yeah.
And two of the examples that he gives are the Matt Reeves Batman and the why am I gapping the name who did Joker? Who's the director? Anyways, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Yeah. They say the Batman sequel, which we now know is going to be called The Batman Part 2. Ooh. That's
clever naming.
Big news. Pattinson will continue to portray the Dark Knight in at least one more crime saga movie directed by Matt Reeves. That movie, the executives revealed, will be released on October 3rd, 2025. 2025 is going to be a very big year for DC. Crowed Safran, Superman, and Batman within the same year. So different Batmans. They also said that they're never going to have, like, there will be at least a year's difference between. You'll never have two different iterations of Batman on the big screen in the same calendar year.
Right. I just want to jump in here one more. Like, another reason I think starting with Damian's pretty cool is you're automatically kind of catching up to the comics a lot quicker. Because the comics are doing some really cool stuff with Damian. Like right now, the comics are doing a whole run, have been doing a run with Damian and Superman's son, who right now I don't remember what his name is, but so like they're like this little team up duo. They sneak out of their parents' houses to go fight crime together, and they're buddies because their dads are buddies, and
right,
it's kind of
which
like
we won't get because we're getting a 25-year-old Superman. But
no, but there's the potential's there.
Maybe down the road, yeah,
and maybe this Superman is a little older. Who knows? But okay. I think it's a really cool idea, though.
Yeah. So moving on to another HBO Max series, and this is the one that I talked about earlier where I said Blue Beetle could, like, this kind of goes hand in hand, and you could have a good tie-in and some crossovers here. An HBO Max series based on a unique, lesser-known hero created in 1986. Safran said of the series, it's about a loser from the future who uses basic future technology to come back to today and pretend to be a superhero. Gunn described it as imposter syndrome as a superhero. Of course, we're talking about the Booster Gold series.
Yeah, this is going to be cool.
It's going to be cool. It's going to be funny. Again, I'm really leaning towards thinking that all of the HBO Max shows are going to be R-rated because it wouldn't have to be an R-rated series, but I think Booster Gold is a series that would benefit from not being restrained by a PG-13 rating. And like I said, Blue Beetle ties in the fact that we'll have a Blue Beetle established in this universe. I think I'm almost certain you'll see Blue Beetle pop up in this show.
Yeah. Blue Beetle's and all the animated stuff that I've seen, Blue Beetle is great because he usually gets like sidelined by the bigger, like even when he's got his own storylines in the cartoons and stuff, he gets sidelined in his episodes. Like, all right, Booster Gold, you're on crowd control while we go fight the big monster. And he's like, oh man, come on. And then he's got a really cool little sideline story that happens. But yeah, like he's a really kind of unique idea kind of take on what it is to be a hero, and that like they knock it out of the park with the description. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to try and be a hero. He also uses information, like kind of Back to the Future style information to aid in that too, right? Like, I know that this incident happens on this day and time. So if I'm there wearing the suit and stop it or save the day, then I'm a hero, right? So he uses technology and information. And then he's got, I can't remember what his buddy's name is. He's got like this little robot buddy that helps him out too. And it's going to be this is going to be a fun show, I think.
Yeah. Next up, we have another movie, a movie that I am you could not have made this sound more appealing to me. We have the movie Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Taking its cues from the recent Tom King written miniseries, this movie promises a different take than what most think of when Superman's cousin comes to mind. We will see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, raised on a rock, a chip off of Krypton, and who watched everyone around her die and killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life, and then come to Earth. She is much more hardcore and not the Supergirl we're used to. Yeah, they're saying she's going to be a much more jaded character. And yeah, this is just, I don't know. This excites me like crazy because so often you think about Supergirl and you think about, okay, female relation, same thing as Superman, just in a female form.
Yeah. This sounds more like Power Girl than Supergirl.
Maybe it's sort of, but
like in terms of like her view of the world. Like Power Girl is a lot more like more jaded and more stern and like the descriptors that they use about what this Supergirl's going to be like, it gives me kind of vibes of like, oh, that's kind of like Power Girl.
Yeah.
Power Girl is, of course, for those who know, or for those who don't know rather, is a clone of Supergirl and kind of created by Waller's programs in government agencies to be a superhero that they can control.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all that being said, really cool idea.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. Yeah, you get this jaded kind of like, angry at everything kind of person who is all of a sudden thrust with the powers that they have under a yellow sun. Like, there's so much chaos that can, and I don't think anyone has any doubt that our Superman will play a role in this movie.
Oh, he's got to show up. I mean,
he's got to show up.
How can he not?
Yeah. All right, moving on to the final announcement. It's also a feature film and another one that I am over the moon for. It is Swamp Thing. And the only descriptor I have here is a horror film that promises to close out the first part of the first chapter. Now, they said this is one that this is an announcement that has confused a lot of people. And I think that that's because I think that in the announcement, Gunn chose his wording a little funny. And a lot of people are misunderstanding. Because Gunn says something to the effect of like, although this story is not, he doesn't say not a part of, although it's not like right in the middle of, he says something that makes people think that it's not a part of the DCU, but that it somehow still influences the story of the DCU or something. And everyone's left going, what the hell does that mean? I think that if you really listen to what he's saying, I think that he's just simply saying it's going to be very off in its own corner of the universe. Like it's going to feel very different. It's going to feel like a standalone, but it is a part of the same thing and it is going to have impact on the universe. So, but this makes total sense to me. If you're going to do Swamp Thing, the fact that we now have leadership at DC who have the guts, that have the nerve to do a Swamp Thing film and go, you know what? If we're gonna do Swamp Thing, we need to just make it a horror film. Like, We need to, let's not sugarcoat this thing. Let's not do something that should be, scary and dark and twisted and morbid, and sugarcoat it so that we know that 14-year-olds can get into the theater to go see it. They're putting story first. And that to me is exciting.
Yeah. Well, and then by picking these little bit lesser known characters and heroes and teams, they're giving themselves more license to be creative.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you do Batman, when you do Superman, when you do these A-list heroes, the fandom expects you to do them justice by the existing canon. You have less leeway to play with who this character is.
Yeah.
Where with Creature Commandos, a Paradise Lost series that doesn't have a Wonder Woman, the Authority, right? And to an extent Swamp Thing, which out of those, Swamp Thing has me more excited than the other ones. You've got room to play with character and story and stuff, and the fandom will be more lenient as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you're not going to have people sitting in the theater going, "That's not the color of the socks that he wears in the comics."
You might have one or two, but
that guy's an asshole.
But they will be a minority. Like when you get something like Star Wars, and Disney does to Star Wars what they did to Luke and stuff like that. Of course, fans are going to be outraged, and rightfully so, in my opinion. But in this, like when you like the Creature Commandos, like there's going to be a very, very small minority of people who are fans of Creature Commandos compared to fans of Batman.
Right. Anyways, that's the news. Someday when we have more time, you and I will have a discussion about how I believe that what they did with Luke in The Last Jedi is not only the total natural progression, but totally is consistent with Luke's character and who Luke is. That
will be an interesting discussion.
It will be a very interesting discussion, but we will do it. So thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all listed below. Our merch store. You want to wear some swag? That's the way to do it. And also our Patreon. We are always uploading some fun little content for you there that you can only get if you sign up for our Patreon. And it's also a great way to help us out. It's expensive. It's expensive to do a podcast, and billing time for us is actually coming up soon. Spring is when we have to renew all of our subscriptions and licenses and stuff to be able to continue to do this. So if you enjoy what we do and you want us to continue to do it, $1 a month, man. $1 a month. $1 a month goes a really long way. So consider doing that. And check out we've got like 260 episodes of this freaking show. So check out all our other episodes. I promise Carl's not in all of them. So if that's unfortunately I'm in 99.9. I think there's one I'm not in.
Yeah.
So if that's,
Pete and I have done a few in the past where you're not there.
Have you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Didn't we? I thought we did.
I don't think so.
Pete and I did one.
I'm not always there in person.
Maybe that's where my mind is going.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one episode that is literally just Pete. He spends like 15 minutes talking about the movie 1917. And then we listened to it afterwards and we're like, okay, so from now on, no standalone episodes for either of us, because that was boring. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this DC thing. This is going to be a lot. There's going to be a point in time, man, where you and I are like, did you watch this week's Star Wars episode? Yes. Did you watch this week's MCU episode? Yes. Did you watch this week's DC episode? Shit. Shit, I forgot. Okay, give me an hour. But we'll get through.
It's gonna get heavy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to back out. I might have to be like, sorry, I can't do this anymore. See ya.
Yeah. Well, you signed a 1-year contract, so there's hopefully it gets heavy before then, so that I can have some sort of evil maniacal satisfaction.